In one of my favorite books, it's a tale of immortality and the power of smell and the goat god Pan in New Orleans, interestingly enough. It's called Jitterbug Perfume. I highly suggest reading it if you haven't. The information I'm going to unveil here to people, all I ask that you do in return is write me a good story. That's all. Write me into whatever it is and your ideas. With all the things that I give you for free, you just write me in a wonderful part of the story. That's all. Why do I say this? How is it that this... It's free to do. All of this is free here. I've figured out, unraveled, unlocked so many things, and people often ask me, how do you know all of this? How could you attain all of this information? How do you put all of this together? Now this is just a story, but let's say I'm a shaman. Let's say I'm an Archon. Let's say I'm a demigod. Let's just pretend that for a second. What would I have to do here? If I knew that I was immortal, and this life is just one of many. Now if I know all of those things, and I know my purpose here isn't necessarily a physical one, yet it's played out in the physical realm, how would I go about, what would I do here? What would be my purpose, my position? If I was an architect of all of this, if I created from a place that other people don't recognize because they haven't been there, or they don't remember being there, even though everybody comes from the same source. I revisit this page, I revisit this to give you an idea about sigils and servitors and egregors and god forms and magic, and I try to bring this to everyone's forefront of their mind so they can re-examine what they think this world is. I always talk about magic, I always talk about consciousness, I always talk about health and well-being and the balance of the mind and what the ladder is and how to get to better places. And I think some people don't necessarily know that this dream, this magical realm we live in, is really truly magical. Like Harry Potter type shit. And I say this in a way to say, what if it was that there were only 144,000 people on this planet, literally living souls? What if there was only 100? Maybe that's that number. This is just a suggestion. I'm not going to tell you if it's true or not. But let's say there's only 144,000 people, really living souls on this planet. And everything else you see is some sort of servitor or living egregor. It's been said that in a lot of tribal units, a lot of shaman, what they've done is they've created a living entity that walks with them. That you wouldn't know that that entity really isn't truly human in the way that you perceive it, but is just a spirit that is inside of a human form that really doesn't have any feelings per se. It's just under the command of the king, the shaman, the ruler. Now, play a little game here. What if the planet is really like that? What if there's really only 144,000 people? Maybe there's less, maybe there's more, but I like that number. I think there's a reason for that. And this gets into the ancient kings of old, that they were all magicians. Maybe this is why there's only you see these popular channels with millions and millions of views, and think of it that way. Like, look at these people. Always say, look at these soulless people. Look at them out here. What if they truly don't have a soul? What if they're not really part of the system? What if they're just part of somebody decided to write their own grimoire, and they created a story in which they had a kingdom on this planet, on this plane. They created a kingdom. They had all of these servants, all of these servitors. They even created a few egregors and a few god forms, and they put themselves right into the mix. And they were the living soul, but they had lost themselves. And there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there with millions of dollars, but maybe they are just as much of a servitor as or an egregor as the next one. What if you really live in this realm? This is why when you say you walk down the street, you can't make eye contact with people. They can't see it. It burns them. It bothers them. They can't because they're really not living. They've never looked another. What if they have never looked a god in the eye? What if they never seen a shaman? What if that's the truth? What if I'm sitting here from where I am as an architect, as a shaman, as a very high-level magician, and the only people that can listen to me, the only people that hear this message, the only people that this makes sense to, are the people that are living, truly alive, truly capable of changing something. How far does this story go? Where does this go into the black and white magicians and how the chessboard works and all of that? Maybe I'll get into that in a little while and explain a little more to you how that works. But the highest source of power is the shamanistic power of bringing the black and the white magic together, which gives you full spectrum magic. This is taking your shade and your sun and putting it into one thing. It's balling up all of the energies from what you'd call duality into a place inside of your consciousness to create something. Getting back to the source material, which is not white light, but clear light. Light is clear. Go outside. If light was white, you wouldn't see anything but white. This is how you can know this. So when I attempt to clarify things for people, it often becomes misconstrued by people that believe in a black and white world because they can't quite understand and comprehend. And it might be because, as I'm suggesting to people, if you open your mind up and say, hey, this isn't the world and I'm just trying to learn how to create some fun environments. This is really magic. I'm talking about magic. I'm talking about like full-on creative potential of anything you want. Now in this book, Jitterbug Perfume, Tom Robbins talks about Pan the goat god and somebody that was on the quest, a king that was on quest for immortality because he got, I don't want to give the book away, but I can tell you a little bit about Pan because everybody knows who Pan is, and this is pantheism or Pan. It's to take a dial on a radio and go from left to right. It gives you what you think of as a sine wave or sin. This is why Pan is the goat god of sin, and goat is god or god, because a T and a D are the same letter. And so the god of duality, and it's not even duality, it's just left and right panning. This is why you cook things in a pan. I'm not going to go too far with all of that, but what he talks about is Pan and how people start to not remember that he existed. And so he became faint in the imagination and memory of people. And he started to die. He started to be removed from this realm. And so this realm didn't exist with Pan there. And it became a dull, fashionless place. It didn't have any spice to the world. And so Pan started to vanish. But by reviving the concept of imagination, and understanding truly what the world is as a ladder, not as a dual system, but as a sine wave of energy, energetic propulsion, to construct something. See, the opposite. See, people think of it as good and bad, but if you think of it as, if you're sawing a log, you're using what is called a motion of pan. You go from left to right, back and forth. It's causing the same action, and it's causing something to happen that's giving you what you need. There's no bad there. And if you can start to comprehend magic in this way, you start to see something brand new. And then you can start to come to terms with, hey, what if all of these people, that you can't help everyone. You won't be able to. It's not in your best interest. It's not in anybody's best interest. If you could help 10 people just a little bit, or help one person a lot, what would you do? You sort of kind of feed 10 people, or they're going to die in a week, or really feed someone and they're going to go on to become something special? What would you do? It's a very easy answer. So if I could sit here and help build consciousness, if I could sit here and alleviate the terrors of your mind, if I could alleviate all of the symptomatic response mechanisms that tell you the world isn't what it is, and show you that it's so far beyond magic that all I ask in return, write me as a good part of your story. Write me winning the lottery. I don't know. Send me a package. It doesn't even have to be real. You could just do it in your dream world, and maybe I'll receive it. See, that's how this all works. That's how powerful this is. And you can do the same thing for yourself, because that's what the suggestion is. You're suggesting to the larger mind, your overmind, to create an experience that you desire. Now, what would it be for me to create an experience for myself that I do desire? If I've done this 1,000 times, if I've continually been the god of a world, and I can make everything go my way, and I am living in 5 other lives right now, and they're all going exactly as I want, because I planned them perfectly, and I'm getting bored of that, what would I do in this life? Wouldn't I leave it up to everything else to kind of make my journey for me? Wouldn't that make sense? What if you were immortal? So say I'm sitting here as a demigod. Say I'm sitting here as a sage, as a wisdom keeper, as someone that can levitate, as someone that can explain things that people, as I say, how do you know this then? Sometimes I can't tell you how I know this. Not because I can't, because I can't find out. I don't know where the source is. I can't point to it. I can't say, oh, go read that book, because sometimes there is no book. Sometimes I just know that. But how? So say I am all those things. And say you are too. But the difference is, you haven't remembered your other lives. You haven't got into those places. So I'm trying to attempt. I'm attempting. I'm giving you the tools to get back to those places, in those realms where you are the god of your world. And I'm trying to give you the tools to do that here, so that you can create sigils and servitors and egregors and god forms, and you can create out of seemingly nothing. To do it with a pen, to do it with your words, to do it with your mind. To go get a book if you need. Go write yourself the story. They say it's stranger than fiction, right? Well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? So you're coming from a place as an organic living system. And this is why other people can't hear what I'm saying, and it won't make it to them, because they're not living. They're part of an orchestration of somebody else's consciousness as some of their servitors. There'd be no reason for them to click on my videos. There'd be no reason for them to listen to what I have to say, because they couldn't hear it. They're tuned into a specific frequency and wavelength that is directly correlated to the person that made them. but they're not actually living. So there's no way that, what would be my purpose of destroying that person's creation? There wouldn't be much. Just make a creation of my own, just as well as you could. Now the next level is once you get to the Godhead and you start to experience things from, say, Samadhi, and you become the highest and omnipotent, omnipresent, and you can do anything, as Alan Watts so perfectly says, you would get bored of it and you'd hit surprise me button. And maybe there's some people that hit surprise me a week ago. Maybe they hit it 1,000,000 years ago. Maybe they've just been, they're just waking up from the large nap. Maybe they were a king in Egypt and they're like, oh, I just took a nap and I woke up and all this crazy stuff's going on. Well, who knows? But the point is, how is it that you can create yourself a better environment, a better reality? Now, if you go through all of my videos, and there's about 350 now, it's explained in depth, fully. All of it. I mean, I don't know what I haven't really covered. And if there is something after going through all of it that you're still curious about, please, I'm happy to answer. But I think most people, even through a few of the videos, will start to get clued back into who they are, what they are, where they came from, and their capacity to create in this realm. You're not just moving your hands around and grabbing objects and moving them like on a chessboard. You're actually using your mind to create environments for yourself. You're so far away from the chessboard, but you don't even know it. I'm trying to get you back to that place. So what else can I offer you here? How much more can I unveil here? And it's always difficult for me to make these videos that when I feel like I'm being redundant, because I don't like to speak again. I feel like it's already there, and anybody has the ability to it's one click away to unlock anything that you want. But I'll try this one last time of what's going on here. The world is as crazy as Harry Potter. You're just not in spaces and environments to allow you. You're not hanging out with high-level magicians. You're not hanging out with people that can do telekinesis. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The most basic is the vibration that you're sitting at. Another is play that X-Men game. Play that game that all the movies that you see. When somebody has some sort of power, they're not out there just telling everybody they have it because they don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of that. They're not like, oh, now I got to deal with all these questions. I'm gonna look weird, blah blah blah. But for me, I don't care. Like, it's like, here, this is free because I see how it works from a larger scale. And hey, just maybe I'm immortal. Just maybe I'm a demigod. Just maybe I'm a shaman. Just maybe all of these things are true. And I'm saying it from the same space to say, don't you know you are too? It's just what tube are you on of time? Where are you in your progression? And if we talk about evolution in any way, the only evolution that's occurring is you're evolving back to where you started. Getting back to the root source of your capacity to create things. So hopefully this was an enjoyable little journey for everybody. And as I always say, how's it going? Hopefully it's good. Have a great day. And if you can, write me in some cool things in your journey. And, poof, maybe I'll show up. Stay well, everyone.